Tonight on the very late Mac to the Future Go livecast. Remember those multiple colored G3 iMacs of the early 2000s? Can you imagine Apple doing the same with flat screen Macs? Fry Electronics, the California king of weird electronic goodies, has closed its doors, and Apple likely helps seal its doom. Big savings for refurbed Apple M1 laptops, but no M1 Mac Minis. And if your if your Apple Watch is battery challenged after a recent update, you may be eligible for a repair. And lastly, damn the Australian government for forcing me to defend Facebook. All of that tonight and more, I hope, on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go. Yeah, it's one of those nights when things just don't always seem to go the way that you expect them to. We got a bit of a late start, and it wasn't Dave's fault at all, even though I said that before we got started. It was my fault, or something in this room's fault. But we are here. It is Wednesday night, and it is 8-ish, and I think we are ready to go. And we're going to start tonight with talking to Dave. Hello, Dave.
How's it going?
You are not Guy. You are this person.
Oh, yes, that's me right there.
Other side.
Right
yeah, there you go.
I go like this.
Right there. Yeah,
how's it going?
Gets reversed. Oh, well,
Well, glad you got everything worked out. If all else fails, reboot.
Up until the point where we were like probably 30 seconds or less from going on, and suddenly my camera just goes blank. It's like, no.
Were you playing match game?
Yeah. Oh, I get jokes. No, I was not. It was the only kind of match that was going on was bad words that were coming out of my mouth the whole time that I was plugging stuff in and plugging stuff out.
Oh, they were. But glad to be here.
Were.
Thanks for having me, and let's have some fun here, huh?
Yeah, let's have some fun. Let's let all that stuff in the past be in the past. Hello, Warren.
Hey, thanks for finally getting me on.
Yeah, no, sorry.
But I'll tell you, your camera works now, and you look terrific. So
he does look good.
You look good.
Well, you look almost as good as me.
I got camera envy now. You got like the blur thing going behind you and all that good stuff.
The bokeh.
You got the bokeh. I can't do any of that.
We were talking about that last night on Chuck's show. Bokeh.
So what do I need? A separate camera, a different camera? I can't use my webcam.
No, you don't have to have a special cam.
This is iPhone.
No, well, he has the blur. I can't blur through.
Well, actually, it looks like my face is actually a little blurred at the moment.
Yeah, I was gonna look in camo. I think I might be able to do that.
No, I can't do it with my FaceTime. My Apple laptop camera. I do have another camera.
That's better.
Like
too lazy to get it.
You got
that's a little better.
You're short. Now you look short.
Guys, you know me. Okay, I become obsessive on certain things having to do with technology.
Mics.
It was microphones. I'm hoping it doesn't go into cameras because cameras are even more expensive than microphones. It's like, all right, you know what? A $35 to $100 microphone every once in a while very, very stupid since I don't use them. Did my camera just flash?
Something
my camera flashed.
Oh, okay. Just as long as it's not mine.
You bought a SLR for what?
Yeah, this is a Sony A5100 mirrorless camera, and it goes.
That might be overkill for.
It is.
For
it is.
Webcam. Yeah, I think.
Kind of is.
But that's Guy.
That's Guy. Yeah, that's me.
He already did.
It's going to a fake eCam web link, which is basically HDMI in on one side and USB out on the other. And everyone says, oh, it's so much cheaper and works just the same. I'm beginning to wonder whether that's true or not. But we will see. But we have lots to talk about tonight, guys.
I can see the lines on your face more clearly than before.
Yeah, isn't that? Oh, and the neck wrinkles. Don't forget about the neck wrinkles. That's right. Actually, that's right there.
How do I blur my whole body out?
Well, what I need to do is like just have an animatronic, like Arnold Schwarzenegger from the late 70s, early 80s, and just have his mouth move as I say things. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Let's talk about some Apple stuff.
Yep.
Have you guys ever heard of John Prosser?
Oh yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
Okay, well, he's a well-known claimer of Apple things, and he says that Apple's
and very accurate by it as well.
He doesn't claim a lot of things, but he does claim a few. But some things he's missed on. So
well, this one's a little odd. Because Apple's new iMacs, when released, along with having a smoking hot processor, will also come in weird pastel colors like the familiar rose, gold, green, sky blue, along with the more sedate silver and space gray. And I don't know if, because I mean, they're talking about already removing like the lower bezel of the iMacs. In which case, the only thing that would really actually be colored would be the tiny lip all the way around it and then the back of it. What sense does that make? That makes no sense to me. Who would see it?
It would be on the back,
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the point. Who's going to see it? I mean,
people complain about that bezel. That's the thing. I mean, it's so big. I'm looking at. I have my old Thunderbolt Apple display, and yeah, I got big bezel, black bezel around the whole thing. But these days, I got a Dell monitor. I'm sure, like your Dell monitor, is pretty much edgeless at this point, and that's I think that's really
what guys saying. That's what he's saying. Guys saying that looking if they can make the color whatever they want, but you're not going to see it from the front. But
are they not able to hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us. No, they hear
okay.
us.
I'm going through the comments here, and they're saying somebody's saying he can't hear us.
No, we didn't. I didn't see it anywhere. Where? Who said it?
Frank said it just went. No, Derek said it went silent.
Okay. Anyhow, back to the they're there. Back to the topic.
I am not iJustine.
Yeah. My only comment is I was a little, when do they still do the rose gold? I don't think they do it anymore.
Not on the Mac.
On the
on the MacBooks.
They did it on some of the MacBooks.
They did. I don't know if it's not an option anymore, right?
No, I don't think so.
And for good reason, because if you buy like a pink iMac, it's you're going to have trouble selling it to half the possible sellers, because it's not might not be if you stick with black and silver, your chances of selling it is better than if you get a pastel blue or a pink one.
A color that maybe some people
don't like. Yeah,
aren't gonna like. What do you think,
exactly.
Dave?
Yeah, no, I think this is definitely a possibility. I mean, they're bringing back the colors like they did back the old days when the first iMacs came out. Gosh, 21 years ago now. That they really want to really mix up some colors, and but like I said, I think the bezel is something important. You really want this to be something that is a little more edgeless, because the current iMacs have such a long big bezel at the bottom. I mean,
and they need that for cooling and everything. But you put
but they can make the technology put fans in the back and make it just
fans. There's going to be no fans in the next MacBook.
Yeah, with the new M series chips, they run so much more cooler that do you even
get away with it?
Yeah, so you don't need that big chamber on the bottom that was there before in order to route air through the computer as silently as you possibly could, and that was I think one of the biggest reasons why that was there, especially when you were talking about the iMac Pro. With like you could get up to like an 18 core Intel Xeon freaking ridiculous processor.
iMac Pro, yeah.
for
So
$12,000 or
the
something
new
like
iMac's
that.
going to have it's going to just be a screen that's going to be that thin, and then there's no way to fix it or upgrade it. You just throw away.
I mean, with the M series chips, what's other than storage, what's left to replace? The RAM is internal, the processor is soldered onto whatever kind of motherboard that something like that would have.
Take apart your Mac Mini and let us know.
Yeah, not going to do that. But that Mac Mini is, there's a lot of space inside there from the pictures that I've seen online.
Right.
There's a lot of space inside there.
They could have made it smaller, and I'm wondering why they didn't. I mean,
didn't I fix it to a teardown?
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of people that did teardowns on the Minis and the new M Series Pros and Air. I think the biggest reason why they stuck with the existing form factor was to just keep it familiar to people that would be, they didn't want to do a huge departure in design. And if you think back, they did almost the same thing when they went to Intel. The iMacs from PowerPC to Intel, they weren't any different. The laptops weren't any different. They looked exactly the same. And it wasn't until they were around for a while, for the Intel ones, that they started to make some changes. And I think they'll do the same thing with the M series.
Yeah, it's true with all their stuff. This is why I'm able to buy new ones and my wife doesn't notice. But the
thank God she doesn't listen to the show. I think that's something that a lot of us say.
But
I'm the same boat. Thank God.
But if they're going for a redesign, is what I'm saying is, then Rose Gold is dead. Yes, or renamed. There's no Rose Gold anymore. But I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say. It's not important. No, that's what I was going to say. Somebody tore down the new M1 Air, and supposedly the chip on the M1 Air is almost the same as the Mac Mini chip. It's like the same, basically little board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't really have to. What is the Mac Mini? For that matter, what is the iMac other than basically repurposed laptop parts with a screen, or even with the Mac, in the case of the Mac Mini, without a screen? There's not that much difference.
There was at a time. So my mom has an iMac, a 2014 iMac that I'm actually replacing with M1 next weekend. And that thing, she got the base model. It was a 1.4 gigahertz one. It was actually the same setup as the Air, the MacBook Air at the time, the 2014. So that internals was almost the same. But then I think if we moved up, there was different things that was going on into the other iMacs.
Possibly.
I'm not sure what. Yeah.
But when you're once Tim Cook kind of took over and he was the supply chain guru, you end up reusing as much design as you possibly can, because it just keeps your costs down. And the lower you can keep your costs, the more margins that you have. And, Apple's margins are the envy of the industry because nobody makes as much as they do per unit, per phone, per computer, per anything that they do.
Yeah.
But of course, none of this has to do with iMacs being different colors.
It does. I mean, it's a redesign. General design is where we're going, and we're talking. And Adam says it. Adam in the chat says, and it's true. He's said what you said. It's expensive to change the entire design of the product, but other laptops and other companies do it. They change. They have. I don't know how much the design changes, but I think it's time. I think it's time the iMac just radically changes desigin. I think.
Yeah, it's way overdue.
It's overdue.
I question whether they even need the iMac at all at this point, but that's neither here nor there.
There's plenty out there pros that like to have the Mac, and there are still people who like to have desktops. They want to have something they can walk up to their desk. Yeah. They don't want to have a laptop. There's still plenty of an all-in-one device.
You could get a Mac Mini and put a monitor. That's what my mom's doing too. But I mean, I would welcome a change of design of the MacBook Pros and Airs too. I mean, you look at sitting right here. This is my wife's HP laptop that she got, and it's it's really a different design, but it's thin. It's you could.
That's an HP?
Yeah, it's an HP with a leather thing on it. But I mean, they look great, but they can make them look nicer, I think, if they tried it.
Well, how important is that? But I mean, talking about as far as the iMac goes, again, if they make the bezels as small as what they're talking about, you would barely be able to see what the color is from the front.
Right. Appearance is important to a lot of companies. A lot of companies just get the iMacs because
especially
it looks
Apple.
cool. Yeah. Yeah. You walk in, not just, but I've worked for companies where they'll just buy iMacs because of the look, and it just, when you come in there, you just have this line of iMacs. It just looks nice. So it looks as they are important, and right now Apple's banking on with the laptops, at least, the familiarity of it. People could recognize it right away. So if you're on a MacBook, there's little question that you're on a MacBook.
Yeah.
Whereas
and whether it's Intel or M1.
No, yeah, exactly. But if you see the Apple logo and the silver back, you're on the MacBook.
Yeah. So. All right. Fry's Electronics is the latest brick and mortar retailer to shut its doors while COVID and practically desolate retail landscape was mostly to blame. An influx of Apple stores probably pushed it in that direction as well. Many big box retailers are struggling to stay afloat, while specialty, more focused stores, especially with products that people actually want to buy, who knew, like Apple's, are becoming the new linchpin to shopping centers that once relied on big box stores like Macy's and Sears. So now Fry's to me says California, that these were mostly out in California. I've never seen one outside
They're
of
big in Texas, big in Colorado, mostly on the West Coast. They had one store in Chicago they had opened, and not maybe 5-6 years ago, and then I think they had some down in the South, like South Carolina or whatever. They only had like 31 stores.
Okay, because it's never seen one outside of California.
Yeah, no, Vegas. There was a bunch of them in Vegas too. I went to the one in Vegas when I was at CES 2020 and had been there before number of times. And even back then, it was, when I went into the store, I was like, God, there's like all these shelves are empty. What's the deal here? And this was in 2020, so before COVID hit. So they obviously were hurting for quite a while. But it was like bringing a kid in a candy store. I mean, I always think about when I would walk into that store here, it was like a road trip for me because it was like 40 or 45 minutes away. So I always would like plan like maybe once every other month. I'd say, I got to go out there. I want to buy something. And I bought some small PCs and things like that there. But just the aisles upon aisles of electronic components that they had, and 18-foot sections of nothing but motherboards. And then they have another 18-foot section of nothing but hard drives and external hard drives and hard drives, internal hard drives. But they did have a big Apple focus too. I mean, they had, I remember the big awning of Apple, and you walk in and there was all the Apple stuff. But it was kind of primitive the way they had the store set up. But you go on the other end, looking at audio and video, and then you'd have rows upon rows of cases and accessories, and it was just it was like a candy store for us that with it. Their biggest downfall too was their website. Their website is awful. I mean, it just you just would go on there, you could never find anything. And I all these years they never made changes to make the website more user friendly to find things. So, but I mean, the demise was really I mean, like I said, if you go on their website right now, they got the big letter says we're out of business and we're winding down, and that's probably their website's. I made a comment to somebody. I said, hey, their website looks better now than it did before. So with that letter up there, but it was a fun place to go, and I bought my share of stuff there, and it's sad to see them go. But you still got Best Buy around, and Best Buy still continues to flourish. So they're about the only standout. I mean, my God, I worked for Service Merchandise when I was younger. I mean,
wow.
That's going back a long time, 20 25 years at least.
Yeah.
And I was the site and town manager. So, I mean, so I was,
wasn't that the store where you'd go up and pick stuff out of a catalog?
The catalog
and hand a slip of paper and they'd bring it out to you?
Yeah. And then go down merchandise pickup, the whole thing. So
they had one near us here in Virginia.
We had one called Best. It was the same.
Best was the same catalog showrooms.
Yeah.
It was, but I worked at a Best.
They were, and that was really right when I started getting into computers, and computers were not even a thought with them, because they were mostly electronics and Walkmans. I mean, of course, I had a Walkman. That was a bad thing of working there and being a manager. I was like, oh God, we spending all my money on all this stuff. So, but it's sad to see. I mean, and it's not surprising that Amazon really, I think, is probably the biggest of all of them. That's put a big damper in a lot of these brick and mortar stores. And we were just talking pre-show about CompUSA. I used to go there all the time. And they went away, and
Circuit City,
and then Computer City. I don't know if you knew about that one.
Yeah. We had one of those around here.
That was a Tandy store. That was owned by Tandy Radio Shack. So I loved going in that store, and we had one here. And so they had them. CDW still around, but it's more for business.
Well, Micro Center. Do you guys have? I think there's a Micro Center.
Adam in the chat
store.
room just mentioned it too. We actually shared. I think we shared the same store. Because that's the one I would.
Yeah, it's much. I like that much more nerdy than Best Buy.
It is.
I agree with that comment.
Back when they used to still have the New York Mac World Expo, the local user group here, Washington Apple Pie, would get like 3 of those big Luxo buses here in Northern Virginia, and we would all park our cars behind the Micro Center in Vienna, Virginia, take at like 4:00 in the morning, and take the bus up to the Javits Center in New York, spend the day walking around, and then come on back home, stop at, I can't even remember the name. There was some weird restaurant in New Jersey where they had a menu. I think we talked about this on After Show. They had a menu that had like 200 different entrees on it. You could get everything from like scrambled eggs to lobster. Just walking in the door, they had everything. And it was a great place to eat, but but that's where we used to park our cars was around the corner from Micro Center.
Yep. Yeah, they have a few of those here, and I haven't been in one in quite a while. But no, like I said, the retail space in general, it's sad to see these things. Sears was based here, and it was big back in the 70s, 80s. That was probably the go-to place, and now gone.
Well, and even before COVID, you had all the malls were starting to close down because people just weren't going to them anymore. And now Amazon, that so many people are in lockdown.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you guys heard about the Motley Fool, right?
I know of them. What happened to them?
Nothing. But their main headquarters, where all their most of their people is here in Alexandria, Virginia, and they've shot a lot of their, I guess, online ads or commercials or whatever you want to call them that you'll see like watching YouTube or whatever. Were shot around in the area, and one of the places that they went to was the old Landmark Mall off of Route 236 that wasn't even 10 years ago, somebody had sunk like millions of dollars into this place to refurbish it, and now it's basically a parking lot for Amazon vehicles. Their main store to bring people in was a Sears, and it's like okay,
a lot of malls are.
Yeah. So that one's going away.
So it's hard to find a store now with computer parts. Best Buy has some, but
you're better off making sure that you've got like Tiger Direct and CDW and places like that bookmarked.
Yeah. Next time you talk to guys, mention Tottenham Court Road.
Mention what?
Tottenham Court Road.
Tottenham Court Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
In London. So Tottenham Court Road was my go-to place in London. The first, the north part of the road was all furniture stores. And then as soon as you hit this point, it was small to medium-sized computer shops with just parts of, you could buy almost any part in those stores. And, some of them were like, they all competed with each other, but they all tried to overcharge you. It's also where the the CEX was there, but they closed down.
Well,
here.
New York was the same way. Like you go along Camera Row there near Times Square.
B&H Photo.
Yeah, but this was like all in one. Like this was like computer store after computer store after computer store. I mean, it was just literally like probably a mile or two of just like small little computer shops run by just guys, and you could go in there and like bargain with them because they were all next to each other. It was great.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of stores, Apple's refurbished store has discounts on M1 powered MacBook Pros and Airs up to $230 off. So if you're in a market, grab one while they last. Typically, when you see something like this, it's a harbinger of something new coming out. But I don't know if it would be the 13-inch Airs and MacBook Pros as compared to the next line of M series computers getting ready to come out, or do you think it's just they finally got enough in the channel and enough that have been returned for one reason or another that they're now ending up in the refurb store?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I agree with the latter.
Yeah, it's not. I've seen things going to the refurb store quickly after it comes out, and it just means that after enough people return something for me. I had the MacBook Air that I bricked the first when I had it within the first week. I'm sure that went to the refurb store and they figured out how to unbrick it and it's being sold. So I mean, enough people get this kind of thing. Once the box is open, it's refurb. So
right.
A lot of people return it. Some people open it up and return it that day because they're like, I can't afford it or whatever the reason is. So the refurbs are good. I know everybody knocks on Best Buy, but Best Buy has open box stuff, and
we sell tons of it.
And they, I buy a lot of their stuff, and what they'll do is a little different. They'll have, condition listed, fair, satisfactory, good, or certified. And when they say certified, they mean Apple certified on their Apple stuff too.
Yeah, well,
so
they have their own Apple certified people.
Yeah, they're Apple certified and they're an Apple reseller, but so you could get good deals there too. So go for it.
Yep.
I bought probably
I
I've two in my life that I bought, two refurbs and no problems.
Well, this M1 Mac Mini is the first new Mac that I've bought in probably 10 years or more. The iMac that is sitting over here in the corner is that was a refurb, and the computer I had before that was too.
They're basically new. I mean,
yeah,
they basically new without the box. I mean, literally, once you take it out of the box and use it for a day, it's the exact same as refurb.
Yeah, up until I used it was a 2010 Mac Pro from like 2013 to 2017 for 4 years, and fantastic. They're still great machines as long as you don't expect to run Big Sur. Right. But speaking of Apple devices that don't have as much staying power as they used to, the Apple Watch Series 5 models A2092, 93, 94, 95, A2156, 57, or the Apple Watch SE 23, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55 may be good for free repairs from Apple if a recent update is borking your battery life. Follow Apple's instructions for attempting to correct it, which is basically turn it off and turn it on again. And if that doesn't work, you should be able to mail your watch in for repairs. Now, do either one of you have Series 5 watches?
My son does now because I went through and I got myself a 6. I had the 5, and then I screwed something up with the beta on it, and that made me get to 6. So I got to 6. I give the 5 to him, but we've had no problems with it.
Okay, what are you sporting there, Dave?
6. I have the Series 6. I had the Series 4 when I traded it in, so yeah, I didn't even go to the Series 5. So, but I know that was we talked about that last week on In Touch with iOS, and it was quite an ordeal with some people with the battery.
Yeah, I've got this one. Where is it? Here it is. This is a Series 5.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to update it just before we started the show, but then I got busy with other stuff. So
Update to what? There hasn't been an update out for
No.
wow.
You just didn't do your update?
I didn't do the previous update. So
It's been like a month, guy. Come on.
yeah, but no, but now they've got a new version of it out that's supposed to take care of
Oh, that's right. They patched
this
it.
problem.
They did that one patch. Yeah. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, the 7.3.1, right?
Yeah, so I'll
it
go
only
ahead
goes on the
and
305. Yeah.
once we're done with the show tonight, I'll go ahead and plug everything in
So
and
we'll
get that going.
we'll be listening to you crying tomorrow when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my watch isn't working. What's wrong with my phone? What's wrong with my watch? What's wrong with my camera?
I'm gonna make it beep from here. Your watch.
No. Speaking of which, we finally got, for people who stayed around for the after show last week, Warren and I finally got the MacBook Air thing straightened out. I bought my 2018 MacBook Air from him, but he had forgotten you'd forgotten to take it off of your list of devices.
I did.
He purposely left it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I did everything correctly.
He wanted to see all my stuff.
I removed the iCloud from it. I removed it from the device. I did everything I said. In fact, I removed it from my device list. It was gone, but it was still in Find My Phone.
And who'd have thought that the recovery partition would still linger from your iCloud account?
It really did. It did.
What was funny? You were basically, this was after the show ended last week. Warren was like, "Well, here, let me try something." He hits a button. Beep, beep, yeah, and it starts making all this noise. And I didn't hear it at first because I had the ear monitors in. And finally, I was like, "What is that? What is that?" And I got up and I walked over to the room where the MacBook Air is. And my wife was standing there looking back at me, going, "What the hell is going on here?" And it's like, but I had to basically, I just had to.
It's gone now, so you're good.
I'm good. Yep. Just had to wipe it and reinstall everything.
The actual recovery partition, which we don't normally do.
You ever look at your device list and say, "Oh my God, what's wrong with us?"
Well, some people have more devices on their list than others do.
Oh, it's a bad list here. All
right. Moving on. Final Cut Pro trademark hints at possible subscription offering, and this confuses me. This is something that you put in, Dave, because essentially, if you buy Final Cut Pro for $300, you basically have upgrades for life for as long as you own that software.
As far as I know, again, this was a rumor, but the trademark that was hinting that possibly Apple may be thinking about it and seeing how everything else in the subscription market is very lucrative, especially with the Apple bundle and all the other stuff they're doing, that they might start considering future updates that may require a subscription. So again, purely rumor. I would be pretty upset because I am a Final Cut Pro license holder, and I would be pretty upset that I spent my hard-earned $300 and have to start paying a subscription. But the same thing happened with Adobe. When everybody had Photoshop and the Adobe Creative Suite, and now you have to have a subscription to get access to it. They don't sell it standalone anymore. So, but
I don't have Adobe products on my computer anymore either.
Right. Like Adam says, of all companies, tell me not Adobe, please.
Yeah. Was today Steve Jobs, or would it have been his 66th birthday today?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I find it hard to believe I am only 6 years younger than Steve Jobs. That's bothers me for some reason. I don't know why, but it just does. So I figure I've got 6 good years left, and then I'm done. Okay. That's going to be it.
That's depressing. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna I figure as long as I don't cut my hair, I'm good. Stay young at heart.
You do you. It's all good.
Yeah, he's missed, but Tim Cook has done wonderful things for Apple.
He has. All right, and go ahead.
I'm assuming you've seen all the movies: The Silicon Valley, Pirates of Silicon Valley, Steve Jobs. Jobs, Ashton Kutcher one, and the other one. I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
Well, the only one that I think I've watched all the way through was Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
I'm trying to remember who starred in that.
It was Bill Gates was the guy, the nerd kid. From Breakfast Club, that guy.
Hall.
Michael Hall. Yeah, so that was
Michael Hall.
Bill Gates, and then Steve Jobs was Noah Wiley from ER or something.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I remember they actually had Noah Wiley come out.
Yeah.
And start to do the Steve note at a Mac World Expo.
I remember that.
And then Steve Jobs came out and took over. But as it turned out, I think Noah Wiley did something. I don't remember what it was. There was some story that he hacked off Steve Jobs by doing something while he was up there on stage, and they were never invited back again.
And then the other one was Ashton. And just real quick, the other one was Ashton Kutcher, and he was
right.
The movie wasn't great, and he's not a great actor, but he really looked like Steve Jobs. I mean, he had to look down.
He did good well. And then
where the last one was Michael Fassbender.
He does.
Yeah. He's a good actor.
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor, but the problem was he was too big to play Steve Jobs, because Steve Jobs was not that big.
Right. So if you would have had his acting skills with Ashton Kutcher's looks, I think you would have had the perfect.
You would have had something really going on there. Yeah. All right. Last story for the evening. Facebook is finally on what appears to be the right side of an issue, and color me surprised and more than a little angry that I feel compelled to actually defend them over, well, anything. The Australian government, apparently at the urging of Rupert Murdoch, owner of, surprise, surprise, a number of Australian news companies, newspapers, and television stations, is pushing the government to force large companies like Facebook and Google to pay those companies when someone, not even necessarily people that work for those companies, when someone links to stories in the newspapers and websites, even if those links weren't created by anyone associated with Facebook or Google. Facebook, in a rare case of sense, decided that all Australian news links were not to be allowed on their platform in retaliation, which very, 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 very quickly became a point of contention between Australia and Facebook, and apparently Rupert Murdoch, who, I don't know if he was the one that said, ooh, well, if they're not linking to any of our stuff, no one's going to go and look at any of our stuff. You know, I don't get what Australia was thinking with this, because even like let's say, for example, that they actually managed to do this and make it stick. And all the other companies, all the other countries in the world that might have followed suit, it would have meant basically the end of the internet as we know it today, as far as linking and being able to view news and opinions from all over the world. Because if all of these companies that we get a lot of our social media from was no longer able to link to content outside of their own walled gardens, then what would the end result of that be? What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know what to think. This is interesting to see doing with the Australian government of all things to be fighting this and not wanting to share the information because they want them to pay for it. I think from what I understand is the fact that all this information is being shared freely, and they want to be compensated for it. And is that what I thought? That's what I understood what that was supposed to be. So. Just on and on about Facebook and this stuff. I just like every week we talk about it, I get tired of talking about it, honestly.
Yeah. All right. What do you think, Warren?
I guess, what Dave said, and I'm also surprised that Murdoch is still alive. That's but if that would have gone through, my feeling is
they're in negotiations right now. It's in their upper house, I think, to vote on.
I thought they decided today that they weren't doing it. I thought that's what I heard, that the government gave up and Facebook won that fight. But if they're pushing for this if the newspapers are pushing for this, what's going to happen is all these independent writers and blogs and website people who are eager, who'll post their crap for free anywhere you want. They'll be the ones that are going to start linking to, these social media groups, and, the newspapers will say, hey, wait a second, nobody's reading our stuff anymore, and they'll probably change their mind anyways.
In a lot of ways, they aren't anyway. You've got newspapers that are closing up all around the world. The problem has always been that a lot of these companies, newspapers, magazines, and all the rest of that, it was born of necessity and technology that began in the 1700s. And when the internet came around in the early to mid 90s, all they were basically seemed to be thinking about was, well, how can we link our content over to the internet so people will come and read it and see our ads and all the rest of that. And then they quickly found out that people looking at your ads didn't necessarily equal people that were buying stuff based on those ads. And in the old days with advertising, all there was newspapers and television and magazines. Right. There were no other outlets. So all of these ad companies going to all these companies were like, we're your only source to get the word out about your products. But then with the advent of the internet, that's no longer true. Anyone you don't have to advertise that much you're making of a new gadget or widget, because you can just do a little bit of word of mouth and then all of it gets sold on Amazon. So, here's the thing is now there's a lot of bored people out there who want to write, and they all have, cameras in their pocket. So, they could take pictures or on a stand like, and
then people, the iPhone takes great pictures or whatever. So, getting the scoop isn't as hard as it used to be, as far as like the normal.
And it's instantaneous now. It's almost instantaneous as far as news goes. Whereas you used to have to wait. Like here's an example. When the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up, I was in Athens, Greece when it happened. Didn't know about it until the very next day. And the only way I found out about it was passing some store and seeing a story on it in Greek with a picture of the space shuttle blowing up. And then I had to go and find out someone to tell me what it was that had happened. And the news was already 12 plus hours old at that point. But now, you have something like SpaceX's spaceship, which has had a couple of pretty spectacular failures over the last couple of weeks. Basically, it goes up about 15 miles, and then they try to do their belly flop coming down and bring it down. Then it just blows right up as soon as it hits the ground. You're finding out about that right as it happens. News is instantaneous now.
Part of it. There's two types, right? There's that instantaneous stuff, like when Tiger Woods crashed yesterday.
Yeah,
the world knew about it before it was in print anywhere. So, but newspapers, I think, are trying to get more into a more investigative type of reporting, where it's not the things that you could, it's not an event, but that they try to get to the core of what's going on, more than they were like, splashing, it's almost comical when you get the next day paper and it's like, you see the headline from what? Yeah. You're making a face.
No, not about what you were saying. Somebody had a bad word in the comments, and I didn't see it until after I'd already put it up. No bad words, please, in the comments. Thank you. Appreciate it. Just get to your point, please.
He's got to see what he said.
Anyways. Oh, I see it. All I'm saying is, newspapers are not built for today to cover car crashes and major things that don't really need to be reported on. It just really needs a picture at this point.
Well, the thing about newspapers is instead of doing what they do best, which is journalistic reporting and digging deeper to tell you more about a story, whether or not it's instantaneous when it happens, they've tried to go the sensational route where, you know, the opinion page is now on the front page because they've decided for whatever and cable news is pretty much exactly the same way. They've decided that the only way to get an audience is to grab a particular share, whether it's on the right or whether it's on the left, it doesn't really matter. They're going to grab that particular share and they're going to cater to them, whether or not the things that they're talking about are really important doesn't even matter. It's about getting eyeballs onto your content. And it's too bad because something like, you know, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when CNN first came out, they had headline news, which was fantastic because you had, you know, everything that was going on pretty much in the world every 30 minutes. You could find out what was going on with little updates as it went on. But apparently that wasn't enough. Yeah. And that's, you know, and journalism has fallen down the path of things like the National Enquirer. You know, it's pretty much what I equate the ethics of modern day journalism to is, you know, let's get pictures of Bat Boy and Bigfoot there because that's going to bring in people to our content. And it doesn't matter whether it's true. It doesn't matter if it's because
there's not much out, because there's not there, everything else is people know about, everybody knows about, you know, as long as you have something that's connected to the internet, you if you care, you'll know about it. I have neighbor friends that do not watch the news at all, and they're not that active on social media. And sometimes I do have to tell them like major things going on. They're like, you know, and it's strange because a lot of people are not like that. Most people know right away what's going on.
But you're right. They faced the Australian government did reverse.
Good.
Reverse their bill, and everything's going to be coming back to normal.
Yeah, it was a stupid idea. I can't believe they even tried it.
Yep. Yeah. So
all right. Well, that's pretty much what we have for tonight. Unless either one of you guys have something you want to talk about.
No, we talked about a lot tonight.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
All right, so let's begin with Warren. Warren, if people wanted to get a hold of you and say, "What?" How would they do it?
They would call up, pick up the phone, and say, "What? What?
What? What?"
Yeah, the Facebook group Back to the Future is a good place. I'm usually there, even though everybody hates Facebook. I do this show, and I do I do a show with Dave tomorrow.
And the name of that show is
In Touch with iOS.
You shouldn't have had to think about it.
I did have to think about it. I can't keep track of all this stuff.
Guess I have to pick up the slack here.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, Dave, how about you?
You can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. We actually have Mr. Mike LaPlante coming on to the show tomorrow night.
Nice.
We're talking about wine and his rant about Apple Maps.
No, not wine.
No, he wants. I don't
want wine.
I don't want any wine. Then you also find me on Mac Voices Live. We had a great show last night. That's on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come see us. It's on YouTube, youtube.com/Mac Voices TV. And we get a lot of active people chatting in the chat there and Facebook group as well. And I'm also on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network. I won't be on there this week, but I'll be on next week. And,
other weeks.
But whenever I'm not working or have to attend some work function. So being it is 10 a.m. in the morning. So,
yeah.
But, because those, you know, the Brits, you gotta accommodate them. So, but I love.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, the shows are for here. But, you know, they're 7 hours ahead of us. So, no, they're great. Great show. That's on the British Tech Network, and then you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65, Instagram DaveG65 as well. And thank you for having me as always.
Okay, if you want to get a hold of me, email address is guy@mymac.com. I have 2 different Twitter accounts. It is MacParrot Also, VertShark. VertShark.com is the website.
Kill the shark.
There's stop it. There's besides, of course, the Mac of the Future live cast that I do. I also do on occasion Guy's Daily Drive in my car live on Facebook, as well as the MyMac.com podcast that you can find each and every week over there in the podcatcher of your choice. What else? If you'd like to help support the things that I do, patreon.com/MacParrot, coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, as well as, I'm losing my mind, paypal.me/MacParrot. All great ways to help support the various things that I do and all the crazy stuff that I just can't stop myself from doing. And somebody should just say, stop it, Guy. But it wouldn't work. I'd still keep doing it. That is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all so very, very much for joining us. We really, really do appreciate the fact that you have taken the time to be with us here this evening. And we will see you all, hopefully, next week, right here on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go. Say goodnight, Warren and Dave.
Good night, Warren and Dave.
I knew that was going to happen.